Part 2, first Word project. Now let's go find my Word project. I could start Word and look for recent files, or I could browse to where my file is. And I'm going to do that just to show you some cool stuff there. So I'm going to browse to where I know I saved my Word file. In my special, I have a special disk under a special folder, cs101, fall 2024, section 2, and Word. Oh, John Smart homework. There it is, Word WD1. I browse to where the file is, and I'm going to show that I'm going to view extra large icons. Right now, I can see that the computer thinks it's a Word file. Do you know how my computer knows to think that's a Word file? It all has to do with that file extension. Now you may not see that because by default under View, Show, you normally don't see file extensions. But there is a file name hiding in there that's telling your computer that this is a Word file and thus show the Word thumbnail. But watch what I can do. I can say, computer, show me under View, show me file extensions. And I can actually click on my file name once, click on it again, and now I can edit that file name and I can change that file extension. I could change it to something like MP4 and hit enter. It warns me, are you sure you want to change the file name? The file may become unusable. Now that's kind of a lie. It's not unusable. It's I don't recognize the program that then wants to open that file won't recognize it. So it's not really unusable. It's I think it's a different kind of file than what it really is. Because that's how your computer knows what's inside a file is that extension on the file name. On Macs, they have a similar thing that it knows what kind of document it is, or it wants to treat it as a certain kind of document. But we all know, because you saw me change the name, that what's really in there is a Word document. Let's see what happens if I double click on that. Media Player is going to try to open it, and it should say, I don't know what kind of file this is. I can't do anything. It's not working. Because he's trying to treat it as an MP4. All because of that file name extension. So I can click on it, and edit that file name extension back to what it should be. And it gives me a warning again. It says, oh, I'm going to treat this as a Word file when I open it. And since it is a Word file, Word opens it and says, oh, this is a fine readable file. Now notice, I didn't change the content of the file. The extension means here's what the computer thinks is in there and tries to open it with that related program, the default program for what's to opening that. Kind of nice to know when somebody gives you a file that says .zip and it's supposed to be a zipped compressed archive, and it could be something else. That's one way, sort of a junior hack that you can change a file extension and fool your computer into thinking what's in that program, in that file, and it could be something completely different. So here we are at the Wash Your Hands project. Notice I have my tabs are minimized. I can double click my home tab or any tab and have that ribbon showing permanently. And I'm going to follow the same order as in the textbook. We have changed the font here and we're getting ready to change our heading. And let me go into the textbook. Hopefully I can still see my textbook without troubles. And go in the same order as displayed in the textbook. We're formatting our document nicely because we want this to be a readable flyer that has the information, but it's not terribly readable or interesting. We're going to make it interesting with colors and fun stuff. So what we want to do, first of all, we've already done this. We've centered that one. We enlarged it, made it Rockwell bold. And I think the next thing we're going to do is format the next one. Let's make sure we get this right because they go in a certain order. And remember the goal here is to make it look like this. From there to this. So we're working from top to bottom now on our document. So we made that 36 point, made it Rockwell extra bold. We had changed the theme already. And we changed the font size. And let's see if we do the back. Yeah, we're going to shade that paragraph and then we'll continue. But before we shade this paragraph, we're going to set this font to be not just dark black on a white background. I want to select all this font and make it a special effects using this guy. But remember, in order to change anything that's font related, I need to select the text that's going to be changed. Easy way to select the text on an entire line is click in the margin. Remember, you can also triple click 3 times and you get the entire paragraph selected. Single line, margin, even if it's only part of a paragraph. Triple click will select the entire paragraph. I'm going to select that line. We want to make this text to have special text effects hiding under this little text effects icon. We're going to choose red outline. Oh, wait a minute. Did we not choose our theme? I'm not getting the same colors. It had a red outline. I guess we'll go with, what's my, I have my same, oh, I have a different color theme. Wait a second here. We need to change our theme here first so we'll get the right colors selected. Let's go with, actually, let me do some, let's do this again. We're going to set the text to be this one. What is it called? This white with blue outline. And then we're going to change our theme and see how that color changes. So wash your hand, white with blue outline. And the key here is I have changed my font color to be, and I'm going to change the font color there to also be third from the right, second from the bottom. Kind of an ugly mustard color, but we're now going to change our theme for a better color scheme. So I'm choosing the theme color third from the right, second from the bottom for my that's going to be, actually I want to shade the paragraph. Let's go back to that. Let's make that white, make that white with blue outline. I'm going to shade the paragraph. Here we go. Shade the paragraph here with third from the right, second from the bottom. There we go. I want to shade the paragraph with that mustard color. Yes?
Do ours have to look exactly like yours?
This part, no. Well, yeah, let's do this part. I'll let you change it later on other things. So I shaded the paragraph, third from the right, second from the bottom. And now I realize, oh, I have the wrong color theme. Let's go back to design and choose a theme of gallery, which has a different color table. Now I have purple, that third from the bottom, second from the right, or third from the right, second from the bottom, becomes the new color for my paragraph. And notice my outlined in red now, outlined in blue now becomes outlined in red, because changing a theme also changes your color table. There's a color table that goes with the gallery theme. And we hadn't changed to that theme yet. So this is an important thing to remember. If I choose color themes, and when I'm coloring something like a paragraph, and I'm choosing a color for that font or the color for the paragraph fill, see how third from the right, second from the bottom is now a different color, because the theme color will change as I change my theme. Standard colors don't change with a theme. Say if I always want it to be a dark purple background and I choose a standard color purple for my background, even if I choose a different color theme, that color will stay that. But if I change my theme table, whatever is third from the right, second from the bottom will be the new color assigned. And typically a theme has nicely colors that go well together, that match. So now I have changed the shading of that top paragraph. And what determines the size of my rectangle? Well, my margins for that paragraph. Every paragraph remembers its own margins. If I change this guy's margin, actually that's the page margin. If I change that margin, I think that will change the size of that rectangle because of the paragraph I'm in. Okay, so we've made shading on that after changing the font. Now these two lines, I want to be a larger font and a different color. First of all, let's change the color of that font. Remember, font effects only affect what's selected. Triple click or select in the margin that entire paragraph and change the color of the font to be second from the right, second from the bottom. And now I want to increase the font size either by choosing a font size up here or Control Shift greater than and adjusting the font size until it looks good. I like this because it gives me a feel for, you know, how the wrapping will be. If I go that far, then food gets kind of pushed over and it gets kind of huge. That feels like the right size. So around 22, 24. Let's see what the book specified. I think the book specified 22, but let's check. And then we'll continue to the other text. And my page is coming up slow. Let's see, the next line. We made that 22. Yes, 22 is the size we want for this. And another way to see, is that a good size? I can zoom out, roll my mouse button, see, yeah, that looks like a decent heading for the top of that document. Now we want to set the font size for all of this text except the last line. And I'm zoomed way out so I can see all that selected text. I'm going to double click my home tab so I can zoom in a little bit more for you. There we go. I want the text from the word how all the way down to the line after handling. Remember, selecting in the margin and dragging selects that entire line. You can also select the word and drag through. That's the most common way. And to increase the font size, or to set it to a specific font size, I can type in a number, and the number that they would like is, what size do they want it to be? They would like it to be 20 point. 20. So on the home tab, I can come up here and select 20, and notice how all that text got 20 size. Suppose 20 was too small, 22 was too big. Could I type in a different font size? Let's try it. What if I type in 21? Even though it's not in the list, could I make it 21? That's what happens. Yes, it will take a font size that's not in the list, and it will estimate 20, even though it only sees a built-in 20 or 22. It will estimate what 21 should look like. So you're not limited to this list. Now we have all the text, and our poster is looking a little better. Now what we want to do is, with these enlarged text, we want to make this a little more organized. We would like this to be a numbered list. How do I make that a numbered list? Well, let's select through those 6 lines, and I want to make that a numbered list by coming up here now while it's selected and choosing this guy, numbered list. And it turns it into numbered list. But let's learn a little bit more about numbered lists. This little teeny weeny arrow is an additional menu that will pop up. This will let me choose different kinds of numbering. And I'm going to let you choose a different numbering style if you would like, just to give you some creative choices here. I'm going to go with the standard, but you could choose a different numbering list, and you could even define your own numbering format, which is even more advanced. But I'm going to go with the average. And then this, I want to make a bulleted list. Select through those lines. Come back to the bulleted list. There's standard default bulleting. Again, there's a teeny weeny arrow next to that. You can change that into a custom bullet, and you are welcome to choose a custom bullet if you like. You could even find a little picture of yourself, a little cartoon picture, and make a new bullet, as long as you can get that picture saved somewhere on your computer. When you define a new bullet, you could go pick the picture that goes with that bullet. Or you could even draw a shape. So lots of capabilities there. I'm going with the default, but you're welcome to choose a different bullet. Have fun with it. So there I have my bulleted list. Bullets will change the wrapping a bit because it adds a little indentation. And it's starting to look a little more organized. And let's see, the next thing we want to do is, after bulleting, we're going to work on that very last line. This line here, I'll zoom in on it, has a visit this website for additional tips. Let's at least enter that paragraph and center it. Remember, Control E, if I hover over that, I remember Control E will center it. To enlarge all the text, let's select it all, either click in the margin or triple click in the paragraph, triple click. And Control Shift greater than, as large as we can before it starts wrapping. So I get up to 20 and then it wants to wrap. So I'm going to stop at 20. It's looking decent, but this is a link, but only if I'm viewing this electronically. We want to remove the underlining. If I select through this text of the link, it reminds me that control link will follow go to that page if the internet's working for you. But how do we remove that link? Underline is not underlined, so turning on and off underline will remove the underline. But a better way to do that is, let's go and right click on this. Right click is your friend a lot of times, and I can remove the hyperlink. No hint that that would actually take me to a link because we're only printing this out. So again, the easiest way to remove a hyperlink is just right click, remove a hyperlink. It removes the underlining. Oh, I had turned on underlining by hand, so it doesn't undo the underlining that I had done by hand. So underlining, or just right click, remove link. No longer shows, hey, control click here to go there. Now I want to emphasize this text, because what's at that page is, I want to highlight, it has additional tips, and I sure need additional tips. Well, I could italicize, I could underline, I could bold it. If I tried the emphasis style here, boy, that shrinks it into a funny size. Let's just italicize it. Sometimes underlining makes it a little more emphasis. I think italicizing is good enough. Sometimes people bold it to emphasize it, and that's something again for taste. But at least italicize it for a little emphasis. And do they make it a different color? You could even make it a different color. I don't think they chose a different color. Let me make sure. Oh, but we do want the entire line to be the same color as we chose for this heading. And the color is of all that text, where I have it selected, because I want the whole line to have this color. Second from the right, second from the bottom. And now I have, getting close to having a decent little flyer. And let's see if we've covered everything. We changed the color, we emphasized that line. Oh, let's see. I want to show you one more thing. Suppose I want to do anything else to any of this text. Remember, underneath the font, there's all these extra things I could do as well. That advanced page, multiple text effects. What else could I do? I could make it all caps. I'm not sure why I would make it hidden. I could choose an underlining style. I could go to text effects. Let's see what we have there. Ooh, this looks different than before. I can fill it with a gradient. I could make the font semi-transparent. I could outline the text. Let's see what happens with a gradient line around the text. What does that look like? I can't even tell the change. There used to be, and here's the text effects that I could apply to my text as well. Lots of other effects available in that tiny little arrow. There's lots of things hiding right under that tiny little arrow. Plenty of extra things that you're welcome to play with. Advance your skills. I could choose, if I had it underlined, I could choose an underlined style of more than just a plain. There used to be a sparkly text that I don't see anymore. And then I can click OK, whatever I chose there. All right, now back to the top. We're going to bring in a picture in a second, but I want to show you something that I think it's worth knowing, that going beyond just changing the fill of a paragraph, which is okay, but kind of boring. Watch what you can do with one little thing called inserting a text box. I'm going to do the insert a text box to show you what capabilities you have if you know how to insert text boxes. So insert text box, draw the text box, and I'm going to draw a rectangle right below the one that's there. Make it about the same size as that paragraph box. And notice how it sits right on top of the text. It has to do with the wrapping that we're going to learn about. And I'm going to have the same words, wash your hands. Exclamation point. But I want it to look the same as this font. And I remember, let's see, that font, it was 36 point, Rockwell extra bold. I made it bold. I had the text effects. Do I have to remember all that, or is there a way I could just copy exactly this font and apply it to here? This is where our little friend, the paintbrush, comes in handy. I can select this text that I want my text to look like, and now I can say, paint my text the same style as what is currently selected. That's where this mysterious paintbrush comes in handy. I like that style. I want it to be wherever I paint. I click the Format Painter, and now I paint over this text, and look at that. It has the same font then as what this font is. I don't have to go and remember the size, the font name, all the effects. I can just say, have it the same font as what's selected there, and paint it. You could paint over any font. It will take on that font of what you had selected when you turned on the paintbrush. Now I want to center that text in my little text box. And now I want to shade my text box with that same purple. Well, I want to select the edge of the text box so the font is no longer selected. Just click the edge of the text box, and this shape format tab shows up. Remember, if it's not selected, that shape format tab is gone. As long as I select a shape that has that capabilities, then that tab is available. And I want to go to Shape Fill and make it that same third from the right, second from the bottom color, theme color. And now it's looking a lot like my paragraph. Notice there is a black line around that because text boxes automatically have a shape. So I'm going to go to the shape outline and turn off the outline. But remember, I do have the capability of having an outline if I wanted. Paragraphs, you can apply an outline to. What's that? Oh, I have the shape selected, and here, shape outline, I can say no outline. But look at all the capabilities. I can give it different outlines and weights. You can do that to paragraphs too. But now, so what? It looks just like my paragraph. Why are text boxes special? Well, look what I can do with the text box. I can rotate it. I can place it anywhere on my page. Where a paragraph, it's locked into that position. I can move it anywhere. I can rotate it back horizontal. And even yet, I can apply shape effects to text boxes, such as a 3D bevel, a glow, and make it a lot fancier looking than just a shaded paragraph. Now with some skills you may be able to make a shaded paragraph look like this, but knowing how to do text boxes, especially if you're doing flyers and things, gives you a lot more capabilities. So I wanted to show you that because they don't cover that in the book, but most graphic programs or most word processing programs, this is how things they do right away. You have little elements all over your page that you can individually adjust. Where a paragraph, shading, you can do shading, but you're stuck in that location. So there's a text box, and I can lay it right over my paragraph, and I think that looks a little better. So knowing how to do a text box as well as shading a paragraph. Okay, now it's time to bring in a little bit of eye candy. Now, if the internet were working, I would center this line. I would backspace over my placeholder, and I would want to insert a picture here. Well, and the way to do that would be insert picture online. But this is where you need to have, and where everyone in the world expects to have, better internet connection, which I pray we will by the end of today. But we're not going to load pictures, although last class it did come up for me finally, but I'm seeing I'm not getting online pictures. I'll give it a few more seconds to see if anything's going to come. And let's see if anything's happening here. Yeah, things are still slow. So what are my choices? I can't go get an online picture. And I tried sharing the file with the class, but it wasn't working for them, so I might see what's going on there. So what I'm going to do is pretend we had a picture by using let's do a shape. Let's pick a shape here that will represent or remind us of washing our hands. So let's see, we have lots of shapes. I have a smiley face and I have a heart. Let's do a heart because clean hands are good for your heart. So I'm going to select a heart. If you would like to choose a different shape, I'm going to let you choose a different shape. But we want to pretend this is a picture that's being inserted. Right now, it sits right on top of our text, and that's a problem. We don't want it sitting on top of our text. We want it between these two sections. What do? I click on the wrapping. Yes, we learned to wrap at Emmaus Bible College. Top and bottom wrapping. You could choose, this for fun, let's choose tight wrapping. Notice as I move my picture around the page, it pushes the text around it. That's tight wrapping. I can choose no wrapping. Oh, I can select and choose no wrapping, and it will just sit on top of the text. I can choose behind the text wrapping. Oh, behind the text. But we want to choose top and bottom to push the text out of the way, and then we put our text in the right place so it pushes the text properly out of the way. I zoom out to make sure that I'm not overlapping onto a new page. If I made this image too big, see how I would suddenly have a second page, and that's not what I want for my poster. So I can bring it back small enough so it's not pushing off to a second page. Now let's treat this as though we're a picture. What can I do with a picture? Let's see here. I have shape form, and remember, shape format will only show up if I have my shape selected. Click on the shape, then I get the shape format to show up. With pictures, I have, let's see, what do we have? We have some standard ways of shading our shape. With pictures, they give you a few more picture effects, but we're going to do this ourselves. I'm going to zoom in on that so I can see my effects a little better. Let's see, what choices do I have for a fill? I could choose a picture for my fill, but I can't go get pictures. I could choose a gradient fill, or I could choose a texture fill of my pictures. That reminds me of water. We'll put clean water in my heart. Thinking, oh, and I got a little too big. I'm going to shrink that a little bit. So I can do a texture fill on a shape. What other things I can do? Let's see, texture gradient. Let's try shape outline. I can choose a sketched outline, a dashed outline. Let's see what sketched look like. Ooh, that does weird things to my outline. Scribble outline. Let's try dashes. I can add a dash to my outline, make it a wide or thin or alternating dash. I can give the weight of my outline. And I'm going to let you play with this. Choose what you'd like. And I can even, I think I can even choose the more lines. Let's see what we have for more lines. What kind of lines are available? Oh, look at all the type of shapes. It pops up the format with various types of dashes, more options here in the format picture dialog. Let's try shape effects. Let's see what shows up there. And actually, when this format picture came up, notice there are effects that show up there in the tab there. Look at all the effects I could apply to that shape, and it could do the same thing for pictures. I could give it a drop shadow. I have complete control over here, or I could come over here and do drop shadow, and it gives me some standard drop shadows. So if you like the complete control over your drop shadow, you can come over here and choose the size of the drop shadow, choose how much blur is there, choose the angle of your shadow, or the distance of your shadow. And you could play with all your options, or you could use a standard shadow and not have to worry about all those options. Cool thing is I can choose a built-in option and then tweak it over here in the dialog. Remember how we got to that? That's the custom. Anytime I go to custom, or that's the outline color, anytime I go to custom something, usually, and I get that extra dialog pops up. And that shows me all my other options for shapes or images. So let's do more options. We have shape effects. We did, let's do a little glow. If you want to do a reflection, problem with reflection, it makes my picture larger. If I do a reflection, it increases the size of my picture and effectively pushing off a few lines. If you want reflection, you're going to have to shrink the size of your picture so it doesn't turn it into a 2-page flyer. So I'm going to turn off reflection because it's using up too much space there. So I'm going to go back to my shape effects. I can turn off reflection here, no reflection. And then mess with other shape effects. Soft edges or bevel. I usually like the bevel. It usually gives me like a 3D look. And again, I can adjust my bevel under 3D options. Here is where's my bevel? Here's my bevel. I can choose the size of my bevel. Make it a large bevel or small bevel. Height, I can increase the height of my bevel and the size. And you can see it's slowly looking maybe more 3D-ish. Learning how to use all these formats will give you some advanced skills. Knowing how to navigate this format. Without having to navigate that, you can just say, oh, give me one of these effects built in. You don't have to go custom. Custom is an advanced skill that you're welcome to play with. 3D rotation, again, I can choose a built-in rotation, and sadly it's behind this dialog, so I can't tell until I click on it. There it gives it a sort of a rotation. Let's have some fun with it. Let's go to 3D rotation, custom, and it takes me here. I can adjust my rotation left and right, top and bottom, completely under my control. So you have a lot of effects, and again, I can apply these same effects to a picture, and I see that it's gotten a little bigger. I have to shrink that so I don't push that next line off. One thing I can do here, notice there's extra space between this paragraph and the picture. I can go to this paragraph and go to paragraph spacing, and I can remove this space. Oh, I guess it doesn't have a space. Let's try this one. Let's maybe remove this space. This one apparently doesn't have a space before it. I thought it would say, for some reason this, oh, it looks like I have an extra line there. Let's see if I show extra paragraphs. Oh, it looks like for some reason it has an extra line. Let me get rid of that extra line. There we go. And that's where this paragraph marker comes in handy. Seeing where you had an extra line helped me to realize, oh, I don't want that extra space. Now I can make that heart a little bigger without pushing that food workers off the next page. We're doing about the same things that you could have done with a picture inserted. Last class I tried to get a picture from another location and it wasn't working. So we're putting in a shape, but all the things you can do with shape, you can just about do with a picture. So it's notice picture format came up, even though this is not a picture. And let's see what other picture. Notice there's some effects that show here if it were really a picture. Right now, I basically have the same effects that I had with shape. So shape format, picture format. Maybe it's because that came up. I'm not sure why picture format is showing. Maybe it's because I've added more effects. But underneath your shape effects, lots of possibilities there. Last thing to do now is put a border on our page. Around the entire page. Something, again, many people don't realize, underneath the Design tab, you have a watermark you could apply to a page. You could apply a page color. Don't do that if you have a white paper and a color printer. You can use up your toner very quickly because that's coloring your page with a particular color. So, and it usually comes out bad because you see stripes and things on your page, where it's better to buy colored paper than to try to print a color. But we're going to go to page border, and I'm going to let you decide. Make sure it goes on all borders. So we want to choose box border, and let's choose. You get to choose a style. I'm going to choose is there squiggly or dashed? We'll do dashed. And let's see, I can make it a color. I'm going to make it the same color as my as the background of that paragraph, that third from the right, second from the bottom, dark purple. I can choose a width of my border. And I can choose, if I wanted, even some crazy artwork for a border. Look at all the crazy artwork you could apply to your border. The LED people love these crazy artworks because kids love, distracting borders. But you can choose a border, and let's see, what do I have for options? I have options of whether it's displayed in front of the text, which is the default, or perhaps text could write over my border if it were going way out to the margin. I could say, if I had multiple pages, only apply it to my first page, only apply it to the section I'm in. You can actually have documents with multiple sections. We'll be looking at that in our third project. So you can decide. No, usually the default is have a border on every page in this document, but often you only care about it's like a title page or a cover page. You could decide only put it on the first page. That's my title page. Lots of options. We'll go with the whole document. Once I click OK, I see my border now applied to my document. So we've done a lot of quick things here. One thing I forgot is we want to highlight the first word of every paragraph here. I'm going to show you that I can double click to get the wet word highlighted, control double click to highlight lather, control double click to highlight scrub. Oh, I did a triple click. Double click, and double click. With control held down allows me to select multiple words that are not connected. Now control B makes them all bold. That's called contiguous selection or non-contiguous selection. Normally you click and drag and everything's connected, but you can click and drag and then control click and drag somewhere else to select non-connected text. It's very dangerous though, because if you're wanting to do this and you get to the 10th thing you want to select, you accidentally click somewhere else, everything gets deselected. So when I'm doing more than 5 things, I will click 5 things, apply something, and then keep control clicking so I don't have that annoying, oh, I clicked somewhere, I have to start over. So a somewhat useful feature, comes in handy sometimes, but usually I select it, apply, select, and apply. So we have bordered flyer, a nice heading. You know how to do it, shading a paragraph or doing a filled text box. We applied a little eye candy. We could get a picture of someone washing their hand, would be even more effective. Let's see, can I change my shape if I wanted a different shape? Let's see what happens if I say, wait a minute, I like that, but can I make it a smiley face? Will it reset everything? Let's see what happens. Oh, it wants to draw it. It won't let me, oh, I thought I could change my shape. Maybe not. Shape format. Oh, that wants to insert a shape. I thought I could actually change my shape. Maybe not. No, it looks like I can't change the shape. With pictures, you can fill a shape with a picture and change the picture fill. But we'll stop there. This is enough eye candy. We'll learn about pictures as we use the online capabilities. Hopefully on Monday, we'll be doing some cloud activity that we missed because of some issues. And the Logos, I think most of you did the Logos thing. We're able to get through it. But I gave more time on that since I know it was kind of getting stuck. Everyone got my email about your Office? You have an Office account with a password. And we want to do that on Monday as well, learning about the cool stuff that's available in the cloud at office.com. Save this, Control S, and we'll be uploading it to Schoology as well. Won't worry about that now. Have a great day. Have a wonderful chapel, Friday chapel. Weekend's coming up soon. And if you didn't get an email about Office credentials, let me know. And there were a few names that it had errors with that I can fix. Uh-huh.
Yeah, how do you get rid of that?
Next Wednesday, I think I said I'm due, just because of the delay. So. Okay. Thank you. Yep. And if there's still problems, we can delay it some more because cloud things can be very frustrating. Oh, and I forgot, guys. I always have to remember to stop recording. All right.